What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And finally, the KIZUNA Clash has arrived on One Piece Treasure Cruise Global. You guys would have just seen the video that I uploaded breaking down how the KIZUNA worked. But in this video, I want to actually go through each of the stages that you guys would have been seeing with the strength, the int, and the quick variations of Zoro and Sanji. But before we get into that, I want to actually talk about Zoro and Sanji because I haven't talked about them in any videos relating to the 55 million download celebration or the 9.2 update yet. So let's go ahead and talk about this character. Now, the interesting thing about Zoro and Sanji is you cannot max limit break them straight away. It takes multiple different KIZUNA periods in order for you to accumulate the limit break materials to max limit break this character. So continuously play the KIZUNA over the event period, and whenever it comes out in future periods as well, make sure to accumulate all of those limit break crystals to max this guy out, because you want to max him out. So Zoro and Sanji, as the just Zoro character first, he is a Dex slasher driven. His captain ability is a 2.75 attack boost to slasher and fighters, and makes Dex orbs beneficial as well, and also will boost the attack by a further 1.2 if enemies were defeated in the previous turn. So overall, a pretty usable captain ability. Moving on to Sanji though. Sanji is a quick fighter powerhouse, and he will boost fighter and slasher by 2.75, make their quick orbs beneficial, and will heal the crew by 2 times his recovery at the end of each turn. So a pretty decent captain ability as well. So far so good with this character. But when you switch between Zoro and Sanji, you'll get this effect where it says changes character slot to character's own type and completely removes character's slot bind. So it's essentially just matching orbs. You get guaranteed matching orbs every single turn with Zoro and Sanji. So when you switch into the dual form of Zoro and Sanji, their captain ability will boost slasher and fighters by 3.75. Dex, quick, recovery, and tandem will also be beneficial to slasher and fighters. What a crazy good captain ability overall. Really, really powerful. But the best thing is they're special, and the thing about their special is that they get lots of cooldown through their limit break tree, so it's going to be a long time before these characters are considered usable, because their cooldown is going to be so high for quite a few months. But it's very powerful, as it deals 100 times his attack in typeless damage to all enemies. It becomes Zoro and Sanji for 3 turns, so for a free-to-play character to fuse for 3 turns is insane. And then it says if the HP is full, boost slasher and fighter characters attack by 2.75 times for 1 turn. You heard that correct. It is a 2.75 times type boost to those 2 classes. Now, if you use the special and you're not at full HP, it's still a 2 times attack for 2 turns instead for fighter and slasher. This character is just phenomenal. You need to max this character out. And they even have a crewmate ability of making recovery and tandem beneficial for fighters and slashers. Yes, this character is awesome, and he works so well with Luffy and Law Legend that's coming out in the Sugo Fest for the 55 million download celebration. So this character is awesome. Cannot wait to get him eventually maxed out, but that's going to be many months. Probably close to the anniversary time is when they're going to become relatively useful. But anyways, now that we've done that, let's actually get into talking about each of the variations of Zoro and Sanji KIZUNA battle. So let's start talking about each of the KIZUNA bosses. So the first one that you have to take on is the strength variation. Now on global, there's actually a 2-time stamina version or the regular 1-time stamina version. At this current point in time, we're not too sure which one is better optimized, because the thing is the more difficult the boss gets, the more tickets you get. So we don't know if that actually carries over with 2-time stamina and stuff. So at this current point in time, we don't know if 1-times or 2-time stamina is the most optimal. But here we go for the strength variation. So this one, on turn 1, Dex, Quick, and Psi characters get their cooldowns heavily reduced. So make sure to build a team primarily of Dex, Quick, and Psi characters. And obviously you can stall on the turtles if you need to. Stage 2 is Dosun, who has approximately 800,000 health. He enrages on the first turn, and make sure to kill these bosses on turn 2 or on stage 2 within the first 2 turns, because if you don't, you're going to get your specials all rewinded for 5 turns. So make sure to KO him as fast as possible. And the final room is going to be with the actual boss, Zoro and Sanji. So with Zoro and Sanji, their preemptive attack will give themselves full immunity, you can only use 3 specials per turn, and they have Rainbow Shield % damage reduction, which is a 50% shield for 50 turns, and they remove all your beneficial effects. So this is where utilizing a friend Captain Carrot, at the very least, I would say, is a requirement for this fight. And then optional captains, if you don't have Carrot yourself, would be to use like V2 Kuzan, who is a good Psy and quick captain, or you can use someone like Smoothie and Oven, who again is a really good Psy and quick captain, and definitely, you know, utilize characters that are boosted on a Carrot team. Also, Edward Weevil's boosted for this KIZUNA, so he's really, really good to have on all of the variations of this KIZUNA. So hopefully you guys maxed out Edward Weevil, because if you didn't, it's going to be pretty difficult to run it without him. And I also run Hina on that team as well for color affinity, but again, KIZUNA is more of a heavily pay-to-play event where you want to be running all the strongest characters that you possibly can to counter the debuffs, as well as dealing as much damage as you possibly can. So I'm showing you guys the whole clip. I recorded all of these teams back to back here. The next boss is going to be the Int variation. Now, the Int variation, in my personal opinion, is the most difficult of these KIZUNA bosses this time around. It's just the fact that the stage 2 mini boss, in my personal opinion, has a little bit low of HP for my personal taste. I would have preferred it if Watatsume as stage 2 boss had, you know, a little bit more HP, so you could actually use specials that can carry boosts into the next room, because on this variation, you are not allowed to use an orb boost on the final stage, so it makes it much more difficult to get as much damage as you possibly can. For stage 1 on the Int variation, fighters, slashers, and cerebrals will all get their cooldowns reduced significantly, so I would suggest building a team with those classes specifically. And again, you can stall on turtles if you are unable to bring characters of those classes. And then on turn 2, or on stage 2, Watatsume with approximately 600,000 health, I think it might be a little bit less than that, and he has a preemptive attack that applies 2 turns of burn to your crew, and it's a 10,000 burn. So I would suggest bringing a character to remove that, or to hit your, you know, goods and greats, and then potentially just hit 1 perfect to get off some damage against Watatsume. But again, he doesn't have that much HP. And then the final boss, which again is Zoro and Sanji, they will have a full immunity. They will also paralyze your crew for 3 turns. Your left slots are block, your right slots are int, and they also will remove beneficial effects. Treasure Map Nami is phenomenal here, as she does remove the paralysis, and you can change those block and badly matching orbs into matching. So if you have all of your Psy characters on your right hand side, you can get a guaranteed full board of matching orbs with this team. So really, really beneficial. CatDog is amazing for this fight, as you can use his special on stage 2 and carry the orb boost into stage 3. So CatDog is probably one of the best options here, or V2 Sanji is also a pretty solid option as well. But considering these bosses have such high amounts of HP, they all will have interrupts with HP cuts. Just essentially do not bring HP cutters, because they are going to be useless characters in this particular fight. But the next variation after the Int variation, you guys will be talking about the Quick boss this time around, which is the final of the 3 variations. Now, I sincerely hope that you guys had maxed out the recent treasure map character that arrived on Global, which was Edward Weevil, because if you haven't, then it's going to make the Quick variation very, very difficult. Now, the reason for that is because on stage 2, you get dealt a very heavy attack down to your Dex characters. Now, because this boss is a quick unit and you want to be dealing as much damage as you possibly can, you want to make sure that you can remove that attack down. So Edward Weevil is probably a requirement for this particular team. You could definitely bring limited rare recruit Burundi World on a driven or a shooter based team. That could also work, as he's able to completely remove all of the attack down on your crew. But on turn 1, you will get the cooldowns reduced for your strength, dex, and int characters. So of course, build a team with those classes. With this team, I am using Legend Cracker to provide a chain boost and color affinity, and he's not getting his cooldown reduced because he's not one of those colors, of course. So I am taking my time on stage 1 to ensure that he is able to be ready by that final boss stage. The great thing about Cracker specifically is that he does have a Sailor ability that reduces his cooldown every time another slasher or powerhouse uses a special. So that makes Cracker able to be used in this particular fight. But as I said, on stage 2 is where you get dealt the heavy 14 turn attack down to your Dex characters. So Edward Weevil, perfect here, is able to remove that, and he's also immune as well, so you can't use any debuffing effect against Zio, and he has approximately a 800,000 HP. Again, could be wrong on that one. Same with Wadatsume. We're not really too certain on the exact HP thresholds, but once you take down Zio, you're going to have to deal with Zoro and Sanji again, and their quick variations. So Zoro and Sanji this time around will have that full immunity once again. They will also despair your crew for 5 turns, so make sure to have a despair remover, and also for 4 turns you'll be dealt normal attacks only, so no end of turn damage or damaging specials will deal any damage towards Zoro and Sanji, and they will also remove beneficial effects upon entering that room as well. If you don't kill them after that first turn, they're going to make all your colored orbs badly matching for 99 turns, so that's going to be quite annoying to deal with, so you definitely want to KO them in that first turn of attacks. And of course, with any health cut that you do, they're going to fully recover that, so do not bring any health cutters against any of these KIZUNA bosses. But other options for this particular variation would be bringing Legend Nami as a captain who is really powerful, and then bringing some Dex characters to help you remove Despair, and also just to give you an attack boost of some kind. So Edward Weevil will be really nice for the Nami teams, even though Nami won't inherently boost Weevil. But there we go, that's the full rundown of the first KIZUNA on One Piece Treasure Cruise Global. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video today, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all of the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.